Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Angles and Attitude. And today I am honored and thrilled to be with a great family friend, Restaurateur TLA Hospitality gentleman here in Illinois for many years. Please welcome Tino Antonacci.
Hi,
to Angles and
how are you,
Tino,
nice
good to see you. This is great. This is great.
Good.
Well,
Thank you.
Good. How have you been doing
I've
during
been
this
good.
whole?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting. It's been an
Sure.
interesting couple of years with the pandemic and everything else going on, and the restrictions and what to do, what not to do. So it's been interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I always wanted to ask you this question because I've never been able to ask you this question because I just want the people to know I've worked for Tino in my lifetime twice, and it was a great experience because it was during my younger years. I was coming from my dad, who was this, disciplinarian type, and I just thought a part-time job might be a little bit easier, but it wasn't, in the sense of I learned a lot from you. Let's go back to the beginning.
Sure.
I'm going to ask you a first question that's going to lead to the second question. You start this basically 1970, your career?
Yeah, it's basically a little pizza place, being a buddy of mine, Pat Marzullo,
Yes,
whose mother had a grocery store not a grocery store, a restaurant during the day called Marzullo's Restaurant, and we turned it into 3 o'clock into Tino's Pizza. So from 3 o'clock on, me, Carmen Marzullo, and Pat Marzullo, the three of us had a little restaurant going for for about a year or so.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. Is it something in your mind as you were growing up? Is this something I want to give it a try? I don't want to work for someone else. I want to give it a shot at this.
Yeah, I was always kind of an independent guy. I
Right.
just, I went to business school, and that it was okay, but I wanted to make money. That's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
Right? So, what really catapulted everything is when I went to work downtown for Hotspurs and BBC, and with Lombardo and Bob Marsko and Marty Gattilla and Doug Buffon. When I wound up with that group is when I really found out that's what I wanted to do for a living. Yeah.
This situation with Pat Marzullo.
Yeah.
How long does it last? Is it a great? Is it a learning experience right off the bat? I mean, is it like?
Well, it was
wow.
it was interesting because you're dealing with the public. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're delivering pizzas. You're making a product. Even though it was really family based and not really business structure. You know what I mean? Like being downtown dealing with 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 employees.
Sure.
It's totally different. Just me and them. So,
Sure.
but it was definitely an interesting process to where. I delivered pizzas to the Nickel Bag and stuff like that. And
Sure.
they saw me, and I worked there a little bit part-time as a doorman at the Nickel Bag, you know what I mean? So
Sure, it starts your.
and that's where it all basically started.
And of course now you're meeting different
They asked me to
people.
go downtown. That's how it all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's head that way. We're in 1973, I think it is. Going back.
73, 74, we opened up Hotspurs and
Hotspurs.
BBC. Right.
And again, here you're in the cusp of a new wave of things.
Yeah.
The popularity
Yeah.
of that was just over
Well,
the top.
The BBC discotheque was evolutionary in the city of Chicago, and for example, we had lines going down Division around Dearborn for, I would say, between 2 to 3 years. It was just so popular. It was just crazy.
Oh,
it was crazy.
It had to be just
Mr. T worked, Mr. T got.
Oh, yeah, yes, right.
There's a lot of people. Doug was involved with the Buffon. In fact, that's even how we started Jubilation in Las Vegas. I mean, Paul Anka came there. He saw the discotheque, and we wound up, partnering up with him and opening up Jubilation in Vegas on Harmon Avenue across from the Aladdin in 1978.
You're meeting not only the regulars of a club, but now you're seeing some highlight on people, news journalists, actors, actresses.
Everybody.
I remember you telling me people were in your office. You'd open the door and there would be somebody sitting in your office like a Tom Dreesen,
Yeah,
right?
but that even changed even more so when we opened up Basta Pasta at Edison Park. But back to Hotspurs and BBC.
Yeah.
The Playboy Mansion then was around the corner on State Parkway.
Oh wow.
So they all used to have to come and see me to get upstairs into the BBC, which was kind of interesting.
So again, here you go from this beginning little pizzeria thing. Now you're at this, Now, is it after that you opened up, you go to Jubilation in Las Vegas?
No, first
we had
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
First we had Sweetwater.
Yeah,
First
excuse
we
me.
took over Mr. Kelly's.
Right.
And we took Mr. Kelly's apart, and we opened up Sweetwater back in 1975, May of 75, because we had to be open in May of 75 to execute the lease. So, yeah.
You know, Tino, that was a time when I think, again, the city is hopping with a different kind of crowd. Disco has erupted, this new wave of dance.
Right.
And now you have Faces down there. You're on the hottest corner,
Right.
Sweetwater, Rush Street, Russian Oak.
You had Arnie's.
Arnie's, yeah.
You know, plus Crush Street, you had Adolph's at the time, you know, and there was just, you know, it was just a happy medium. There was just a bunch of, you know, hip places that were doing a lot of interesting, plus it was, you know, this was pre-AIDS also. This is another thing too,
yeah,
so, you know, it's a whole different era, you know.
That Sweetwater era, again, do you think in the city, I mean, was it a constant, I mean, it was a 7-day-a-week where you could say, oh my God, a different clientele,
Yeah.
the weekends had to be
Being
just...
Sweetwater, plus being at Mr. Kelly's for many, many years, a lot of celebrities used to call me up and they wanted to see, my office was now their dressing room, was their dressing room. Plus part of the beer cooler we put upstairs was part of their dressing room. So
Right.
we had guys like Engelbert Humperdinck, Bill Cosby used to call me all the time. He was hanging around with the Mod Squad then, would come over, you know, Barbie Benton. I mean, it was just,
Wow.
there was just everybody. Lauren Hutton. They made a movie at the restaurant called Looking for Mr. Goodbar, where they used BBC.
Diane Keaton, yeah, sure.
Diane
Richard Gere.
Oh, yeah. I
Jesus.
mean, there was a number of celebrities that just kept on rolling in and rolling out.
When you go back and look at that time, do you think it was a time where you thought, wow, this is never going to end? Of course, we know there's always the cycles in life.
Yeah.
But did you just think, I mean, was time, the stupid question here for you today was time...
I never thought of time.
Exactly.
I never thought of time. Okay, it was, you know, I loved what I did, number one. It was like where I was basically working like 7 days a week. It was just, I never thought of it as time as I thought about as much as the energy that was involved in it. Okay, I loved the energy. I loved dealing with the people. I loved, you know, creating things. You know, plus I was working with guys like Bob and Steve Lombardo that were, you know,
wow,
pretty innovative. You know what I mean? So, you know, we started out with French food. We hired, Paul Bocuse was there, and John Blanchet. We hired guys from the USS France. Gerard and Pierre who worked there for years, and they came by us, and we started doing French food, and we had a bar that was doing $40,000 a week back with $1.25 drinks. You know what I mean? So, you know, so
I mean, that's big numbers for that era.
Yeah,
big numbers for that.
That's right.
It had to be a great experience, and then of course you did the Jubilation thing. I think it's 77, 78 Las Vegas.
78 we opened up Jubilation.
Yeah, I remember that, just in talking to you.
Right.
But again, now here, I think in just listening to you now, and then remembering the conversations I had with you, your thing was you wanted your own, say your own joint. This is it. I want my own joint. I want my own place. You had all this experience.
Yeah, I loved working with them, but you know what I mean. There's just something about having your own place and doing your own thing. You know what I mean? That's
and you were well renowned already before the subject matter that I'm going to get to, in my eyes, meaning that guy who had heard about you already. I mean, of course, me being just a little bit younger than you, but already I'd heard about you through friends, people that were already, like I had a sister that's your age that says, hey, oh my God, you got to go to Sweetwater, you got to go this.
Right.
So I already knew where you stood, but now the dream happens, and the dream happens, I think, for you in a town that we were both from, and, Norwich, Harwood Heights.
Harwood Heights.
I have to ask you, take me through that, because I remember when that
people
opened
thought
up, 79.
People thought I was insane.
Yeah.
I was the only, well, there used to be a restaurant there. There was a number of restaurants in that same location. There was a place called The Heights was there.
Yes.
A place called Sambo's was there before that. And
Yes.
then the Stables was there. Okay?
The Stable, yes.
Tom Loxis, who owned...
The Loxis family, yes.
Who owned, what was the name of the restaurant? Across from Norwood House. Meals. What was it?
Oh, jeez, I can't remember now. But the Loxis family had the place, what was called before yours.
Then it burnt down.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So then I got contacted, and somebody wanted to know if I wanted to be in this location, and I went there. I looked at it. You know, I was from that area. I knew a lot of people in the area. It was across from Ridgemore Country Club, and you know what? collateral my home, my dad's house, and went into business. That's what I did. And it was a big risk.
And you talk about, when we're talking 78, 79,
right.
I could still remember this. I mean, things were going off the map at the time in the way of costs and everything. And like you said, I'm sure people looked at you like, what is a Tino doing?
Yeah, they thought I was insane.
Exactly.
They did.
But
they had me buried and they were throwing the dirt on my coffin. You know what I mean? So, But, and plus, you got to remember the interest rates, Reagan, Carter was the president, Reagan took over, but the interest rates at the time were low. I was paying 19.5% for an interest. For a loan.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that first mortgage, and you are absolutely correct. When I was first married, 1978, it's 79, and I'll never forget it. In that town, and every day the momentum of this Culpeppers, which was on Gunnison, just before Nagel Avenue. Right. I'll never forget it. The momentum was growing, meaning, hey, did you hear about this place, Culpeppers? Great nachos. Great burgers. Right. They even have dancing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays.
We had disco. Disco till 3 in the morning. And plus, we had we probably one of the first innovative sports bars. Big screen. I had the train going around the restaurant.
And you had
I had the sports sticker
going on.
Right. Gamblers to come in and look at the sports scores. You know what I mean? Because it was kind of interesting.
Your innovations for that time, it was very innovative. Because I was the type of guy, I'm at a bar, and I wanted to hear, I'm out because I wanted to go dancing, and all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm looking at you're not looking at your phone back then, you're looking up at that ticker, or I used to run to a payphone with the dial 9761313 to
Exactly how many guys did that, right? I had to put an extra payphone in downstairs because of that. Right?
I was down there. Right. You got a lot of my quarters.
Right.
No.
Right.
But yes, you were very innovative for the time.
Plus the Sunday brunch.
Yes, champagne Sunday brunch.
We did between 500 and 700 champagne brunches every Sunday.
And I gotta tell you something that I'll always remember. You even opened up a place downstairs called Pepperoni's.
I did.
Yes, I remember it well. I remember it well. It was it was just something like
baked clams.
Yes, yes. And people now are coming for different things.
Right.
You were not known for just this one thing.
Ribs.
No.
Yeah. Eatery, dancery, revelry. That's what Culpepper was.
Right. And that was imprinted in that sign.
Right.
These years, and I think it's 79 to 90. There was a consistency about you. Mm-hmm. And of course, that consistency came in my eyes, because this is why I wanted to interview you today. Mm-hmm. The consistency comes from your experience. And you demanded a great work ethic for people. If it was a host or if it was a dishwasher,
I did.
You demanded a great work ethic. And, Tino, because you had seen a lot of different people, that style
I'll tell you a great story.
Yeah.
I was... after I left Sweetwater, they had a couple of kind of like bad reviews. I'll never forget it, okay? And one of the owners came in, Bob Marsko, came with a newspaper that James Ward did on Sweetwater, okay? And they had a big sign. I don't know if you ever remember the logo, but it was Sweetwater with like a goat or whatever on there, okay? And so James Ward scratched out the word sweet and wrote swamp water. Okay, and
he's the biggest food critic in town at that time.
He was on Channel 7.
7 for years. I can still see him.
So I had a staff meeting, okay, which I have twice the entire restaurant. So I had a staff meeting downstairs in the party room, and I had this newspaper article with me, okay, and I said to them, I'll never forget it. I said, see this article here? If I was ever to get an article like this right now, I would chain you all to the brass railings upstairs and burn the place down.
Right. I could see you saying that.
And 5 people left. Immediately.
Well,
I wouldn't tolerate it.
Yeah, right. You demanded the thing. And listen, and in the short time that the years, I'll never forget. I was 22 years old when I came to work for you, and I came home and told my father, Dad, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to be working for Tino Antonacci part-time, carting people at the door. And my dad was carting people at the door. I go, but I'm telling you, Dad, it is something that it's not about being there just to cart
energy.
It was energy.
Yeah.
It was learning something different, dealing with people.
Right.
And I thought that made me even a better person when I went back to my regular job with my father. The run continues, and it was a great run there. I got to tell you, it was a great run, and I came back in '88 for the last part of that run, and it was like a place I never left. But again, it goes back to this consistency. I have to tell you something before we go on. I want to give a shout out to a lady that still to this day admires you, and she was a great worker for you, Shirley Scafuri. She knows about this interview coming up, and she says, John, I cannot wait to see this interview.
Yeah, Shirley was great.
And I remember, great manager for you. And a lady that frequented the place, the La Salandra, and Elena Larson, they are dying for this interview to come out, so they have big shout out to them. And they, again, they still speak highly of you.
Yeah, it was really amazing, but someone just reached out to me because of Facebook. Her name was Nancy Malik. I mean, she worked for me. She lives in Australia.
Wow.
And she's been there for 30 years.
Wow.
And she reached out and she saw me on Facebook, and she said, "But one of the great working times I ever had in my life was working at Culpeper."
Sure.
So
and I have to tell you, you molded your staff around your style. It's about 1990, 91. And again, I don't know why you sold out at that time. That's a story for another day at that time. Yeah. But I told people, this man is not done.
Yeah.
This man will resurface. Right. He's not going to just hang it up at Culpeper's. No. You open up, I think for me, another gem just down the road called Basta Pasta, and again, another great concept. What leads you to that? But before I ask you that question, I remember toward the end there with Culpeper's, you were starting to put in Italian specialties at the end into that menu. Yeah, and I'll never forget it. And Mom, God rest her soul, your mother, was giving us some recipes, and they were fantastic. Now, the Basta Pasta, Park Ridge, a different clientele. Take us through.
Well, it was 1986. I was still doing great business at Culpeper's, but I bought a building in Edison Park. And the reason I bought the building because a gentleman owed me a lot of money, and so he said, would you buy this building? I said, okay, fine. So I wound up buying the building. That's how I bought the building, because somebody owed me $40,000, or else I would never have bought the building, right? So it was the Edison Park State Savings Bank, right? Next to Moretti's, and on the other side of it was Don Juan's, all right? So they had, you had American food, burgers, and you had Mexican food, but you had no Italian food in that area, all right? So I started tinkering with, Italian food at Culpeper's, all right? With this vision coming up someday, all right? So, sure enough, what the city of Chicago did at Culpeper's, they made the 8 blocks in back of me all zone parking, which really hampered business.
I do remember that.
So you couldn't park a car because the neighbors were complaining because of the parking. So even though I did buy the house next door and knocked it down and made the parking lot bigger, right? But still, it didn't suffice. But I wound up selling the business and opening up Basta Pasta.
Yeah, which was good. A funny story between me and you. I know you're not going to remember this. I'll never forget. I was working for you. You were grooming me to be like a part-time manager. And I says, Tino, I got a great idea. We'll park cars at Ridgemore Country Club. He goes, and I'll never forget. You just looked at me and you says, you want to pay for that one?
Right.
But now, Basta Pasta. Yeah. Did you think going into it now, okay, you went from this eatery, this Culpeper style, where you had entertainment in the way of the music, more of that crowd after a movie, or somebody wanted to just come in. Now you're going to go maybe to a little bit more. I call Basta Pasta, in my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, a fine dining Italian.
Well, it was a little upscale.
Yeah,
but still, it was casual enough to where you could come in and just,
But for this area, it was one of the nicer Italian restaurants. Because even my wife and I, when we went there, were like, this is a little bit what we don't have here.
Upscale. There's no question about it.
Were you happy with the beginnings and the endings of that here in Park Ridge?
Oh,
it was incredible.
It was great. It really was. It was an outstanding run there. I had a wonderful time. I met a lot of great people. Expanded the base even more, which I wound up doing. It was exciting.
And you met again. So many people there too.
I had the Mike North show there for a number of years, and
and Mike still speaks highly of it because I interviewed him 2 months ago. He was fantastic about you.
I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He's just a wonderful guy. Him and his wife are just wonderful people.
Yeah.
So,
And I remember that. I can even remember how many guests you think you had at Basta Pasta, because I remember you even had the legendary boxer Jake LaMotta there.
Yeah, I know. I had dinner with Jake LaMotta. I sat with him for 2 hours because Mike, he came early one day, and and I sat with him for 2 hours. I told him the whole story about the Raging Bull. And the whole thing.
That was 12 rounds in itself.
And basically, he basically wanted to know what are my gifts going to be. I said, you got to talk to Mike. I said.
Oh God! But again, you were highly known, highly recommended because people, you went from all these places that we talked about down into Basta Pasta and this. I want to throw something in.
Mm-hmm.
It was at the tail end, and I don't want to omit this. It was at the tail end of Culpeppers, and in between Basta Pasta,
Mm-hmm.
you even know, and I think a lot of people don't remember this, you invented something called, which was so adorable, the Little Slugger.
Yeah, ice cream cone.
Yeah. And you patented it.
I did.
You patented the Little Slugger cone.
10, 7, 8 patents on it. Yeah, but I put a lot of money, a lot of time into it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no,
tried to try to work it out, but at the end it was just too costly.
I can imagine.
It was just too costly.
The drive is still there after Basta Pasta for some reason. When you remind me of that guy coming off the bench. You still got something in the tank, bottom of the ninth, 3-2. Yeah. You still want to do this.
Well,
what makes you keep doing it after Basta Pasta?
I enjoy I enjoy dealing with the public.
Yeah.
I enjoy trying to create. I enjoy trying to, make sure everything is right.
Yes.
You can't. One thing I've learned in this business, you can't take the guy who sits in that chair for granted. Okay? Because if you do, you'll never succeed in this business.
Exactly.
Right. This is your house. Tell my son, this is your house. You pretend like they're coming to your house.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. No, that's a great point. And again. What I'm hearing from you now, what I learned from you then, and what I learned from somebody like my dad and even your dad, who was an impeccable man, Lou Antonacci, they showed us the right way, but that not taking the client for granted or judging the book by its cover.
Right.
As I look down the list, you've had this TLA Hospitality since 1974, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Could I be? And and again, you just said it in a nutshell. You beat me to my question that you are about the client.
Yeah.
It's about the clientele, the TLA Hospitality. Yeah. You went on to help other places, and I'm sure if I was to put that cell phone down and call, you went on to help at Tavern on Rush. Yes. In your own way. You went on to Carmine's. You didn't have to do this. This was my opinion. Right. I've told people he didn't have to go there, but I bet you that place is better for it now.
Could be right.
What were you, and again, on all these places, tell me if I'm wrong, you were approached to help.
I was.
Take us through like Tavern on Rush, because that was a little great run for you too. I was getting jealous seeing the people that were coming up to you.
I mean, Marty Gattillo was a friend of mine, and Jimmy DeLeo was a friend of mine, and Jimmy approached me, and got me in there, and it was a great run. I mean, I helped them get structured, and even though they probably had the best location in the city, there's no
a location that you were at for so many years before. It's weird how it came back full circle for you.
I was kitty corner for many years. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And there was also a place down there that I opened up, Marge's Still, on Cedric and Menominee. I opened up that place, for the Farleys, which is I think was the first liquor license in the city of Chicago at one time. So,
what was it called again, T?
Marge's.
Marge's, yes, right. I did see that. I got to tell you, another lady that worked for you, and again, thinks so highly of you, and when you came down to Tavern on Rush, you'll know who I'm talking about. Her name is Carol Gibson.
Yeah.
And Carol, who was the manager, I guess, at Gibson's, she goes, hey, she used to tell me, when are you going to come in with your wife? And I'll never forget one night I had made Valentine's Day. I go, well, I'm going by Tino tonight. Right. She goes, see, that's the point. She goes, Tino knows more people, and he's out drawing us. Yeah. But that little joke means something because, again, people are going to go where there's a comfort, like you said before, where there's a respect and everything else, and you showed that to the people.
Yeah, and Carol was outstanding. She was,
what a great girl.
She worked for me at Culpeper's, and she also was my main person at Basta Pasta for 14 years. She was outstanding, and she was great. And even when I sold the place, I even told Steve, says, you better grab her. So, you know what I mean? And he, she wound up going to Gibson's.
Without question, that, again,
she had a great work ethic. She was.
But when I talked to Carol off the cuff over the years, again, she says the same thing I do. You only can learn from a guy like Tino Antonacci. Well, I want to tell everybody, we are in Pennyville Station here today. We're in the other part of Pennyville called Pennyville Bar Car. And Tino, this again too, you know, you were, when I last saw you before Pennyville, again, you know, I get a call from somebody, hey, you want to meet us at Pennyville? I go, Pennyville? Yeah, she was your old buddy Tino Antonacci and the Sons.
Well, that's my son's. It's my son's restaurant, and Anthony Lupo Jr.
Okay.
And they have the place together. My son, and they have the building and everything. So they've done an outstanding job.
Outstanding. I think there's got to be another word. Yeah. I have been here at least over 10, 15 times with my wife. And again, you've got to be so proud of Lupo and Tony for opening this. This has been a great run.
Right.
You know, when I first walked in here, it gave me the memories of Culpeper's, of course. Just those first memories, again and again, it's just that a really warm feel here. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, I've been here on Sundays. This man is not walking around sitting at the bar watching the Bear game. This man is still putting garnish on plates. He's helping if the dishwasher's down. This is a true restaurateur, gentlemen. This guy does not stop 24/7. So, again, just being in here today, a beautiful place here in downtown Park Ridge. And Tino, I got to tell you, during the pandemic, every time, during the heart of the pandemic, we came here a lot and we sat outside because we just thought, again, the quality of food that Tony's putting out and the Lupos are putting out. Tony especially, I know I see him all the time. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And even today, waiting for you for those 5 minutes, again, I could see how the hostess greeted me. I felt warmed, I felt welcome. And it comes back to Tino Antonacci. So,
Thank you.
Up until this point, how do you feel about Tony and what he's done here?
Oh, he's done a great job. I mean, he's very innovative. I mean, he's really aggressive. I mean, like I say, I tell people all the time, I'm here to aggravate him. That's what I wind up doing most of the time. But you know what I mean. But he's it's been great.
And
it's been real positive. You know, I've learned as you get older, the younger generation has different ways of thinking and doing things, and I'm more old school, and sometimes it's hard to implement old school ideas with the new ideas. So but I try to back off, and he's got to do his own thing. You know what I mean? So
I can honestly say, because I've been here maybe the 10 times, I'm the outsider looking in, and I do see a lot of your qualities in Tony.
Well,
I do see that, and of course, it's an experience thing.
Thank you.
And I see
he
that.
Loves people.
Incredible.
He loves people.
Incredible.
He's great with the people. I mean, he's on top of the situation. I think he's done an outstanding job.
And Tino, as you know, we all know that, and you brought this up early here in the interview today. We always have. There's always going to be that different clientele. You know that. I mean, here's what we think is right. In their eyes. Of course.
All you can do is try, John.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is try.
I got to tell you something, and there's so many things I remember about you because, when I first approached you with this, you were like, well, what are we going to talk about? There is so much to talk about here. We could be on here for 2 hours, but I'll never forget this. I worked for Tino at the tail end at Culpeper's, and he had these review cards on the table.
Right.
You would fill them out and put them in the basket. So this is before Google, Yelp. This is how innovative he was, not only for the restaurant, but this is how innovative you were. I remember you go, do you have those cards for me tonight? I says, I sure do, sir. Because bring them down to my office. And if they were bad, we heard about it as managers.
We got people's phone numbers and we called the people up. That's
Yes,
what we ended up doing.
that's how innovative you were with that.
You have to.
This
Can't take them for granted.
This has been a fantastic run by you. I mean, listen, anywhere I go and I mention your name, I was at Gibson's about a little bit before the pandemic, and I got introduced to a gentleman you know, and he says, where are you from? You look familiar. I go, Mr. Ponarelli, I used to work for Tino Antonacci. You know Tino? I got a table right away. John Ponarelli, sure.
I hired John.
Yes,
Back
he
in,
told me.
1975. He was a bartender at Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to play softball together, and
he mentioned you, and he says, John, you worked for Tino? And I says, yes, I worked for Tino. And again, I mean, the times that I do go there, but again, the thing here is that you have always had a great rapport, and I'll do the 2 R's with you, a great reputation.
Oh, thank you.
A great
Very
rapport
nice.
and a great
Thank you.
reputation.
Very
And
nice, yeah.
I was so looking forward to this. But my last question before we wrap this up, because I know you got a lot of things to do during this Christmas week, and I really appreciate you letting me do this in this beautiful place.
Oh, thank you.
How does Tino Antonacci want to be remembered?
Just a hard-working, honest guy. That's all. That's all I can say. You know.
And you did do, and you know what? It's amazing. And by the way, I don't want to give kudos to Tony. Patrick, and of course Lewis, have gone on to do some great things. I think your son Lewis is a lawyer.
He's on Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And Patrick is working in Vegas right now for Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, you were telling me. So I mean, these things don't come on overnight. I have to tell you, and this is how I want to end it. My dad opened up a travel agency some 55 years ago. And you talk about a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur. But you know what? It's guys like you, my dad, and your father, Lou Antonacci, that keeps the work ethic. I look at that sign every day on Belmont Avenue, Tino, and I say, I'm not going down.
No.
I'm not going down. And it's people like you that have made a difference, and I see it in your sons, and I see it.
Can't take anybody for granted, John. Can't.
We'll end it on that note. I want to thank everybody. We're going to get this out to everybody in maybe a couple days. And this has been a great interview with a great man, a great friend. And this man makes me feel golden every time I see him. I want you to just face the camera while I shut this off. We will see you in a couple of weeks.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.